Cubamajigs are reusable gaming packs for cube sideboards and other games. New designs from your favorite MTG artists are launched every Monday, so go check them out at Cubamajigs.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. Today is Wildcard Wednesday, and we have a pretty sweet Ravnica Allegiance Modern list to look at today. This is a Wilderness Reclamation deck for the Modern format, and this deck is super sweet. This is Sultai Wilderness Teachings, combining the power of Mystical Teachings and Wilderness Reclamation to just tutor up a million sweet instants from the deck, grind out tons of value, win the game eventually somehow. So a quick reminder before we break down Sultai Wilderness Teachings for Modern. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, this one comes to us from Fitz, who took it to a 5-0 finish in a competitive Modern League on Magic Online. So congrats to Fitz on a really cool deck. So let's talk some Sultai Wilderness Teachings for Modern, starting with Wilderness Reclamation. So Wilderness Reclamation is the centerpiece of this deck, just untapping all of our lands, and the trick here is our deck is looking to play exclusively at instant speed. So we can cast some of our instants during our main phase, untap all of our lands, cast more of them during our opponent's turn. So we're really embracing the mana doubling power of Wilderness Reclamation. And then you'll see when we get to our finishers, the ability to have multiple Wilderness Reclamations and like float all of our mana to untap our lands, float all of our mana, untap our lands, gives us this kind of neat combo kill for the late game. The main payoff for Wilderness Reclamation is Mystical Teachings. So Mystical Teachings is a really powerful tutor. 4 mana, you tutor for an instant or a card with flash, put it in your hand. You can flash it back for 6 mana. The problem is, in a normal deck, Mystical Teachings is a lot of mana. 4 to cast it with the front half, and then also to have mana to cast an instant right away. That's asking a lot. But in this deck, we can cast Mystical Teachings during our main phase, tutor up whatever instant we might need, untap our lands with Wilderness Reclamation, and when we pass the turn, we can leave up whatever interactive spell that we want. So Mystical Teachings not only gets us all of our interaction, removal, card draw, finishers, it also gives us like our combo kill cards to close out the game. So it works incredibly well with Wilderness Reclamation. Then we have a bunch of removal, and one of the neat things about being built around Mystical Teachings is we can play a million one-ofs and not draw them when they're bad, but draw them when they're good. So Fatal Push, Abrupt Decay, Assassin's Trophy, Devour Flesh. Devour Flesh, for example, is a card that doesn't show up that much in Modern, but it can be really good against like indestructible threats if we run into Boggles, let's say. This is our best removal spell in our deck, and we can afford to play it even though it's not the best, most efficient spell, because Mystical Teachings can find it when it's good. Then we have a bunch of counters, Spell Snare, Logic Knot, and then 4 of Remand and Cryptic Command. Those are cards we want to draw a lot of, drawing us cards, giving us extra value, and countering spells. Then we have a bunch of instant speed cantrips. Ops, just straightforward instant speed, put a card to the bottom if you want to, draw a card. Growth Spiral doubles up his ramp. Hieroglyphic Illumination can be a cantrip by cycling, or can actually draw 2 cards in the late game. Then we have some other kind of interesting one-ofs. Pulse and Marasa gives us a way to gain some life, grind out some value from our graveyard, getting back a creature or a land. 1 Nexus of Fate, it's not the main plan of our deck, but it does offer some value, and if we get enough mana, with the help of Mystical Teachings, we can keep tutoring it out of our library because it shuffles back in. So even though it's just a one-of, we can sort of do the infinite turn loop a little bit in Modern. As far as actually finishing the game, our most obvious plan is Snapcaster Mage, which is insane in this deck for 2 reasons. First off, we have a million spells, and Snapcaster can flash back whatever's best at any given situation. Secondly, since it's a creature with flash, we can actually Mystical Teachings for Snapcaster as well. Combine that with Creeping Tar Pit, and we can just gain control of the game and go on the really slow beatdown plan with our unblockable land and our Snapcaster Mages. We do have a quicker way though, and that is our 1 Blue Sun Zenith. So Blue Sun Zenith, kind of a unique card. It shuffles back into our library, similar to a Nexus of Fate, but instead of giving us an extra turn, it makes target player draw X cards. So the idea here is pretty simple. Once we get to the late game, and maybe we have out multiple Wilderness Reclamations, we can target ourselves to draw as many cards as we want to, and eventually we're going to get to the point where we have like 40 mana or something. We're having 10 untapped lands, we tap them all, untap them with Wilderness Reclamation, untap them all, tap them again, do that again. Once we get to that amount of mana, we can just target our opponent with the Blue Sun Zenith, tutoring up with Mystical Teachings, and force our opponent to draw their entire deck, and as long as we make them draw more cards than are in their deck, they just lose right away. They don't even get to untap or anything to milling out. So that's kind of our big combo finish of the deck. As far as the mana base, Field of Ruin deals with Tron lands, Creeping Tar Pit we talked about, some fetch lands, some various dual lands including shock lands, and some basic lands. In the sideboard, we get a lot more one-ups. Tasker the Golden Fang is, I believe, the one card in this deck that doesn't get tutored up by Mystical Teachings, but we get a lot of cards in our graveyard, gives us a big cheap threat that can generate some value with its activated ability. Nimble Obstructionist has flash, so we can tutor it up and stifle something, or we can just flash it in and go beatdowns. We have some more counter spells. Ceremonious Rejection, Dispel, a Surgical Extraction for graveyards. Consume the Meek gives us an instant speed tutorable sweeper for small creatures. Fracturing Us, same thing, but for artifacts and enchantments. Then we get a bunch more removal. Devour Flesh, Fatal Push, Display of Dominance, Echoing Truth to get rid of a bunch of like young Pyromancer tokens or whatever. Shadow of a Doubt to fizzle, tutoring. Life Goes On for more life gain along with another Pulse of Murasa. And that is Sultai Wilderness Teachings for Modern. And that's our instant deck tech for today. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.